Okay. All right. I got to click the go live button here. Okay, what's going on? We got a lot of people waiting for us. A lot of familiar faces here in the chat. Woo! What's going on, everybody? Say hello in the chat. I see chat. I see zippity doodah. I love saying zippity doodah, so I'm glad you're in the chat, zippity doodah. We got Joe. Did I say Joe? No, I said Chad. We got Joe and Chad. I love those names. And Stock Jockey's here, of course. That's just phenomenal. Yeah, okay. Joe says Cleanspark is tanking. I guess I didn't see that, but I mean, we'll find out here pretty soon. Let me make sure my headphones are connected here before we really get her going. Okay, let me try that again. I don't think they went. Okay, all right. Boom. All right, we're good to go. Yeah, this is... okay, La Lepra, I don't really know how to say her name, is in here. MFD's in here. Woo! We got quite a crew for the earnings today. I'm excited. I'm excited for this one. We got the, let me know if you can hear everything and all that stuff okay, too. If I need to change anything before the earnings call, let me know. That's why I start 15 minutes early. If we got to change something, we'll change something real quick before the earnings call comes. But let me know if the audio's good. Let me know if the video's good. All that good stuff. Oh, yeah. MFD, La Lepra. Vitali's even in here. Maryland's in here. And Maryland says earnings aren't going to drive this stock in the near term. That's absolutely true. With Bitcoin mining companies, usually earnings aren't like a big stock price mover because these companies report their revenues every single month. When we get a quarterly report, there's really nothing new to report. If the stock does move, it's generally a result of... Oh, no, I didn't miss anything. It's generally a result of the management team saying something new that we didn't know in the conference call. But we got this little press release and we got an 8K, but Cleanspark achieved record revenue for the quarter of $45.5 million, a net loss of $14.2 million, and adjusted EBITDA of positive $13.3. Reports cash and Bitcoin holdings of $125 million. Where the heck did that come from? I don't know. We're going to have to get some color on that. Somebody's going to ask the question, right? If nobody asks the question, I'm picking up my cell phone and calling in. 16 exahash per second target now fully funded, as I thought. In my previous Cleanspark videos, I made that comment that I thought this 16 exahash per second was fully funded. And that's a big deal because that means the company doesn't have to dilute anymore until the end of the year, or, throughout the rest of the year, not necessarily until. They might not even dilute until May, June, July of next year, maybe even later, just because that's when the halving is going to take place. They have operating hash rate of over 9 exahash per second, tripling hash rate year over year. Remember the two words that I always talk about with the letter E? Efficiency and execution. I've been saying that on this channel for, gosh, I don't know how long. I've been covering the stock for 3 years. 3 years ago, I couldn't even make an attempt at a goatee and whatnot. Now I can actually kind of do it. Anyways, Zach Bradford says, we have fully funded our growth to 16 exahash per second. On top of a record-breaking quarter in terms of growth and revenue, we now operate over 9 exahash per second of efficient computing power at some of the industry's best all-in electric rates. That growth is translating to record-setting revenue. We have over $90 million in cash and almost 1,200 Bitcoins on our balance sheet as of today. We continue to build on our long-standing track record of executing on our commitments. Execution. I think they put that word in there just for me. And I'm proud to say that this is a truly best-in-class team. I had Zachary Bradford on for an interview not too long ago, actually. If you guys have not seen that, after this video, go watch it. Also, watch my video I posted yesterday. It's a good CPI preview. We got get new inflation data tomorrow. Okay, creating certainty is an important part of our strategy, and today we have more than sufficient capital to fund our remaining contractual payments on miners and construction to achieve our 16 exahash per second goal. That's what Gary Vecchiarelli, I don't know, that's not how you say it, that's a hard word to say, Gary, change your last name. That was rude. I'm sorry. Gary V. I'm just calling him Gary V. From my perspective, I really like the flexibility of our balance sheet and our operational performance. We have all the pieces in place, from people to capital, to extend our strong track record of growth and operational excellence. Okay. Wow. Lots of people joining me. More than I thought. What's going on? If you're new here or returning, all I ask, hit the like button. Everybody, hit the like button for me. Helps out tremendously. Also, subscribe if you're new here or returning. I'm not going to run ads during this. I will leave the replay of the conference call up so you can come back and watch it later. If you want to rewatch it or if you have to tune out for part of it, you can come back and watch it. All of this is just going to be kind of repeat information here. Here's this balance sheet deal. Cash of $21.8 million, Bitcoin of $13.9 million, current assets of $52.7 million, total mining assets of $441 million, and total assets in all is $652 million. Holy, wow. Total stockholders' equity of $603.6 million. Wowza, that's pretty crazy. Which means that total liabilities of the company are only $49.2 million. I'm interested to see. No, the company's debt totaled $17.8 million. So I didn't take out any more debt. I wonder if they just diluted us to oblivion during this quarter to raise all this capital. I don't really know. And I don't really understand. The company's liquidity in cash and Bitcoin was approximately $35.7 million as of June 30th. But then at the top, they say they have cash and Bitcoin holdings of $125 million. So from the end of June, so throughout July and like the first week of August, they've added 125 minus, where was it at? 125 minus 30. They've added like $90 million of cash or Bitcoin to the balance sheet. Yeah. Okay. All right. In a month and a week. That's pretty crazy. Okay. All right. Zippity. Hank the Tank. That's another fun name. What's going on, Hank? Robert Anderson's in here. Who else did I see? Oh, Hayes the Alchemist. Let's go. Hey, I haven't seen Hayes recently. It's good to see you again. Okay. Anybody else I missed? Chad Linton. Let's go, Chad. Chad's in here. Jake Becker. Yes, sir. Gary Conlin's in here. Muhammad KGV Truth 1. Some of you guys need to change your usernames to make it easier to read. I mean, come on. This is a hard job. Tam Nasseri. Okay. All right. Yeah, we got quite a crew coming in here. Steph Curry. The one and only Steph Curry's in the chat. What's going on, Steph? Gooterama's here. Yeah, Gooter. I'm glad Gooter's here. Gooter's one of my favorite members in the Discord server. Okay. Peter Parker. Peter Parker. Isn't that like Spider-Man's name? Peter Parker. Spider-Man's watching the stream. Wim is here. Chad. Oh yeah, Chad. Chad Bow asked if I remember him. Of course I remember Chad Bow. Alexis, ya boy is here. Alexis, what's going on? Or I think that's how you say that. If it's not, I apologize. Scott's here. What's up, man? Jaden's in here. Woo, Wim's from Belgium. That's kind of crazy. Vitaly, by the way, is the guy with all the hieroglyphics in his name. I just know it's you because you're like the only dude on that watches my channel with I can't remember where you're from, but whatever language that is, you're like the only guy in the channel that watches. So I know it's you when I see a name like that. Okay. Hello from Tel Aviv. Wowza. Peter Badeau. Sean Taylor. Let's go. All right. So we're about 7 minutes out from the conference call, and what do we got? Stock unmoved after hours. Again, not surprised. You know, earnings releases don't really move Bitcoin mining stocks because there's no new information in them. We get monthly updates from these companies. I guess I could cover, and that's not what I wanted to do. I could cover. Let me go here, and we could talk about the July Bitcoin mining update because, in the month of July, and this is probably where the big increase in the assets came from. The Bitcoin holdings doubled to 1,061 Bitcoin. I'm going to have to make some changes to my valuation spreadsheet as a result of all this stuff. And I'll do that. I'll make a new Cleanspark video probably Thursday, so tomorrow or Friday. So stay tuned for that. Production increased 17% month over month. And this was a big change. You know, the doubling their Bitcoin hodl. They mined 575 in July. And they only sold 43 of them. So pretty clearly we had some dilution take place in July. And I'm anxious to hear what their strategy is going to be moving forward. If, you know, we look at where they say this. Do I still have it open? No, I don't, because I closed it. But if their 16 exahash per second is really all paid for, there's no excuse to continue to dilute. I can't. There's no excuse to continue to dilute shareholders at the rate they've been doing so if this 16 exahash per second guidance is already all paid for and accounted for, right? So we could be entering a very prosperous time as Cleanspark shareholders here where we're not being diluted. And keep in mind, anytime a company dilutes as much as Bitcoin mining stocks do, that's basically just another big seller that's always selling stock in the open market, kind of putting a ceiling on the stock price because there's always somebody there selling, somebody adding to the ask on the bid-ask side of the equation. If dilution stops, and if we're fortunate enough to see Bitcoin continue to hum higher, say we go to 40, 50,000, maybe even higher by the end of the year, this could be some of the best times to own Cleanspark. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased. Cleanspark still does remain my largest holding in my portfolio, though I have slowed down my buying tremendously just to diversify a little bit. Okay, we see KDBS. Could we see a crash for Bitcoin miner stocks before the halving? I personally don't think we will. I don't, but I don't have if I had a crystal ball, I probably wouldn't tell you because I could make a lot of money if nobody else knew. But no, I don't have a crystal ball, but I don't think Bitcoin mining stocks will crash before the halving. People look at history all the time and say, oh, this happened in the past, so it has to happen again. No, it doesn't. Big mistake. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. So I think I really don't think that Bitcoin mining stocks are going to crash before the halving. Hopefully I don't eat my words. You can screen record me saying this and, I don't know, send it to me on Twitter or something, or email. I don't know, whatever you guys do. Put it on a VCR and mail it to me for all I care. And remind me of my terrible take if they do crash. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Stock's up 1.6% now, 8 cents. Let's see. We should be getting into. Oh, we got the legendary music. I better turn this music down. I know it's loud for you guys. Whoop. Let's turn that all the way down. All right. I apologize for that. At least it was like peaceful music, right? For the most part. Okay. All right. I think we got it turned down enough for now, but I got to be able to somewhat hear it so I can tell when they come on the microphone. Okay. The Zippity Doodah says this guy is boring. Jeez, I mean, I wouldn't describe myself as boring. You could call me a lot of different things, but I don't think boring's one of them. Okay. Gooter says crank it. Nah, I better not crank it. I think I could come up with my own music that's a little better than this, but who knows? Conference call should start in three minutes, and I'm gonna mute my microphone when it does. Thank you all for joining me. We still got lots of people in here, more than I thought. Hit the like button for me. We're at 39 likes, and we're going to have well over 150 viewers, maybe 200 viewers. Could we get to 100 likes? I think we could. If you're new here, returning and not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's free, right? It's free. Helps me out a lot. It was the music. Oh, I see. You weren't calling me boring. You were calling the music boring. Gotcha. Okay. Chad wants me to play a Hey Good Lookin'. I don't know that one. Is that the song that goes, Hey Good Lookin', what you got cooking? Or no? I don't know. Maybe I'm too young. I'm too young to know what that song is. Bitfarms or Iron? I haven't looked into either of those in a long time, so I wouldn't be giving you a fair shake if I gave you my opinion. Bitcoin at $100,000. Where would I see Cleanspark? If you go to I made a video not long ago. Maybe I'll put the link in the chat later. I made a video of the ultra bull case for Cleanspark. Like if Bitcoin goes to $1.5 million by the year 2030, which is Cathie Wood's price target, and the CEO of Cleanspark also said it was possible. So I made an ultra bull case scenario video on Cleanspark. And in that video, I have a spreadsheet at the end where I talk about my different price targets as Bitcoin climbs higher and higher. So go watch that video, Arun. I don't have it off the top of my head. David Salcido, I don't know, is in here. What's up, man? Are you Rex as in T-Rex? I wish I was a T-Rex. Actually, though, I have some merch coming out. If you're a member, everybody gets a free shirt or free hat or free sweatshirt. Yeah, I don't have one in here, but I have this mug. This is kind of the logo. I don't know if you can see that. Let me switch to using my computer mouse left-handed. That's hard. This is what, I can't, it's not going to focus. That's the logo right there. It's more red in person. I don't know. But yeah, if you're a member, you get a free t-shirt. That's my logo. It actually is a T-Rex. So, hey, if you want free merch, join the membership. It's the cheapest one on YouTube, and you're never going to have more fun than in the Rex Nation membership. Okay. Oh, also, you can download my Cleanspark price target spreadsheet. Somebody asked what I thought Cleanspark would go to if Bitcoin hit $100,000. You can download my spreadsheet if you're a member. You can even change my numbers to come up with your own price targets. Jenin Powell asked what my biggest holding is. Right now, my biggest holding is Lycycle, I believe. I think that's right. Fishy Friends is in here. What's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while. Keith's in here. Oh, yeah. First time right here from the Republic of Texas. I love it. Tejas. I love it. What's going on, Keith? Yes, Blake gets it. 10 toes to the ground, chin up. Yes, I always say that. I love it. Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah, over 150 of you guys in here. So, you guys better you guys better be hitting the like button for me. And Keith, you said you're new, so you trapped yourself. Since you're new, you have to hit the subscribe button. It's not an option. It's a requirement, actually. Oh man. Okay. Let's go ahead and check what Cleanspark stock's doing after hours one last time. We still don't have anybody on the mic, and it's 3:30. It should be coming soon. Up 1.4%. We might go, up 3 to 4% or down 1 to 2% after this earnings call. We'll just see. I don't expect us to move that much though. Oh my God, 187 people. We better hit 100 likes. Jeez, guys, let's go. Oh, I think we're going.
Good afternoon. My name is Abby, and I will be your conference operator today.
Let me know if that
At this
audio's
time, I would
good.
like to welcome
If
everyone
I need to
to
up
Cleanspark's
it or
fiscal
lower it,
third quarter
let me know and I'll do
financial
so.
results conference call. All lines have been placed on mute to prevent any background noise. After the speaker's remarks, there will be a question and answer session. If you would like to ask a question during that time, simply press the star key followed by the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, press star 1 a second time. Thank you. And at this time, I would like to turn the floor over to Isaac Holyoke, Chief Communications Officer. You may begin.
Thanks, Abby, and thank you for joining us today for our fiscal third quarter financial results call, covering the period April 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2023. Our press release was issued about 30 minutes ago and is available on our website at www.cleanspark.com/investors. Today's call is also being webcast, and a replay and transcript will be available on our website.
RexFinance, baby.
I'm here with Zach Bradford, our Chief Executive Officer, and Gary Vecchiarelli, our Chief Financial Officer. Keep in mind that some of the statements we make today are forward-looking and based on our best view of the world and our businesses as we see them today. As described in our SEC filings and on our website, those elements may change.
Nobody cares about the safe harbor statement. We got over 200 people in here. How about that? I love it. 70 likes. Let's get up to 100. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. All right. We'll return.
Financial measures in our press release, which is available on our website. And with that, it is my pleasure to turn the call over to Zach.
Thank you, Isaac. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for our third quarter earnings call. Since last speaking with you, we have strengthened our position as one of the largest, most efficient, publicly traded Bitcoin mining operators in the world. The dedication of our teams has resulted in an extraordinary rapid growth. We now outperform almost every single one of our competitors in monthly production, even compared to competitors that on paper may seem bigger than us. As a CEO and founder, I hope you'll excuse a little cheerleading, but I don't think it is at all an exaggeration to say that we are the best bet in the space. We have a proven track record of doing what we say we'll do, and to that point, we have hit or exceeded every milestone we've set for ourselves. This company and the people who work here are best in class in every way. Now, before I get into the details on the quarter, I want to take a moment and announce that we have fully funded our growth to 16 exahash. This includes machines, materials, and everything else, nuts to bolts, that goes into building a world-class Bitcoin mining facility and bridging the gap to 16 exahash per second. This creates certainty for our shareholders around our future and puts any questions to bed about our path to 16 exahash per second. We are building transformational infrastructure with almost 90,000 machines deployed and another 60,000 on hand or pending delivery for a total fleet of approximately 150,000 state-of-the-art miners, all fully funded. We are operating over 9 exahash per second, and over the next half of the year, we expect to add an additional 7 exahashes per second after energizing the expansion of our data center in Sandersville, Georgia. That expansion, I again would like to state, is fully funded. I know this has been an important question for many of you. There is no longer any uncertainty about when we will have the funds in hand to pay for the expansion and the miners. That day is today. Our track record speaks for itself. So far, this fiscal year, which for us started on October 1st, 2022, we have mined over 5,600 Bitcoins through July. That speaks not only to our scale, which is substantial, but also to our skill as operators. We run the most efficient facilities at scale in the industry. We have among the highest hash rate realization rates of any publicly traded company. This is a key metric for our shareholders to understand, because it doesn't matter if a company has 200,000 machines if those machines aren't plugged in and hashing. We maintain industry-leading uptime at scale, and not only are we becoming ever more efficient as operators, but our efficiency at the machine level is also becoming unmatched by our competitors. We use technology to maximize our fleet's efficiency. Fleet efficiency matters because it means we can mine more Bitcoin with less power. This is a win for our margins and a win for the Bitcoin mining network. It allows for us to pack more hash rate into our existing infrastructure, and as machines become more powerful and more efficient, we are poised to take advantage of some of these synergies in rather sophisticated ways. As of our latest report at the end of July, we reported that our fleet-wide efficiency is approximately 29 joules per terahash. This is good, but not good enough for us. Once all the XPs that are on hand or ordered are plugged in and hashing, we expect to see our efficiency improve significantly, coming in at approximately 25 joules per terahash. We believe this rating will make us one of the most, if not the most, efficient Bitcoin miners at scale on the network, producing more Bitcoin, expanding our margins, and driving more revenue to our bottom line. We've maintained hash rate gains to deliver impressive revenue over the 9-month period reported today. Now, Gary will provide more details about the quarter, but through June 30th, we've generated over $115 million in revenue. Our balance sheet has been strong and is growing stronger, and as of this call, today, our unaudited cash balance is over $90 million. We have minimal long-term outstanding debt, and we hold approximately 1,200 Bitcoin. With our CapEx now funded through 16 exahash per second, we have increased flexibility to continue to grow our Bitcoin treasury. We are pragmatic about how we manage our Bitcoin balance, with the goal of creating the best outcome for our shareholders. We believe we can do this best by being strategic and not ideological, and by being responsive to market dynamics. Right now, that means moving some of our liquidity into Bitcoin. We see substantial momentum building across the Bitcoin ecosystem, and we intend to gradually grow our Bitcoin balance. Doing so underscores our commitment to Bitcoin and our critical role in building Bitcoin infrastructure. Bitcoin is a remarkable advancement in human history. As we are fond of saying, it is just getting started. Over the last few months, we have seen a string of high-profile institutional investors make serious moves in the Bitcoin ecosystem, including multiple spot ETFs waiting for approval. Now, while many of these have languished for months and even years, there are signs of potentially favorable movement on the horizon. For example, BlackRock's application for a spot ETF, the largest asset manager in the world, is one such opportunity. BlackRock has successfully filed hundreds of ETFs and has only ever once not been approved. Their track record suggests that they believe there is a path to successfully launch an ETF. Now, although there can be no guarantee this will occur, if it does, we would expect to see substantial inflows of funds into Bitcoin. We believe this could make the coming months very interesting for our industry.
That's what I said, baby.
We also see some of the regulatory scrutiny abating as Bitcoin further solidifies its position as different from other so-called cryptocurrencies. We agree with regulators that Bitcoin is a commodity and should be treated as such in all respects. We expect the next 12 to 18 months to be transformational for Bitcoin, not only with ETFs on the horizon, but also with the coming halving and the price action we expect to see as Bitcoin continues its programmed trajectory of scarcity. We are very well positioned to take advantage of this momentum, having just completed a 50 megawatt expansion of our data center in Washington, Georgia. Tucked on the outskirts of this beautiful rural community, that facility now hosts almost 26,000 machines for a total hash rate of about 2.8 exahashes per second. That expansion alone has already produced 114 Bitcoins, or about 3.3 million in revenue at an assumed value of 29,000 per Bitcoin, since the first machine in the expansion was turned on just a few weeks ago. The entire site is now producing nearly 7 Bitcoin a day. We work closely with community leaders to negotiate a win-win power purchase agreement that allows the city to thrive while maintaining low power costs for our operations. Our teams and partners in Washington, led by Delston Branch, the site manager, Scott Garrison, our Vice President of Business Development, and Taylor Monig, our Vice President of Mining, have worked through rain and shine, heat and cold, to expand this remarkable facility. We also acquired 2 smaller sites in Dalton, Georgia last quarter, adding 20 megawatts to our portfolio. Located in northwest Georgia in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, Dalton is a thriving community with its own electrical utility. Our move into Dalton has allowed us to deepen our regional expertise while diversifying our utility providers. Georgia is rich in affordable energy, and Dalton is uniquely positioned as one of the owners of Vogtle 3. We are eyeing several expansion opportunities in the surrounding area. With the Washington expansion now fully online and Dalton running at full capacity, we have hit all-time high hash rate of over 9 exahashes per second, and we are well on our way to achieving our target of 16 exahashes per second. Now, before discussing what the next half of the year looks like, I'd like to take a moment to reflect on how momentous this achievement is. It took us nearly 2.5 years to get to where we are today, and in the last year alone, we've grown over 200%. We are now set to nearly double our hash rate in a matter of a few months with the expansion of the Sandersville site. Our Sandersville expansion is shaping up to be a truly impressive data center. Currently, Sandersville runs at about 80 megawatts. The expansion is expected to add another 150 megawatts, giving our data center there a total operating capacity of 230 megawatts. We believe the expansion will make it the largest Bitcoin mining campus in the South. Once complete, the expansion will consist of 10 buildings, each capable of holding thousands of machines. To give you a sense of the scale here, the 2 largest buildings are the length of 3 football fields each.
Ooh.
The site is gently tiered, allowing for carefully controlled flow of air to maximize ambient cooling efficiencies. This approach ensures machines operate
Are
at
we
peak
talking
capacity,
football or
even during the
football?
rare times a year when the region
I don't know.
experiences extremely high heat. As of this call, the land has been graded, excavation for the underground wiring starts next week, and breaker panels and other building materials are arriving on site daily. Pouring of the concrete pads and building construction is expected to start soon. The expansion is sited directly next to a new substation. The Municipal Energy Authority of Georgia, or MEAG, is building the substation. MEAG provides most of our power needs in the region, and we are very proud to continue to work with them and their partner cities. MEAG expects the substation to be finished by the end of the year. Now, we are dependent on them for the construction of the substation and the related infrastructure. The delivery of the machines and the construction of the data centers to house them are within our control, and we expect to finish our work inside the next few months. After the substation is complete, we will energize the expansion over the following weeks until we hit 16 exahashes per second and become one of the largest proprietary miners in North America. Of course,
Proprietary.
16 exahash per second
Say
isn't
it.
the end of the road for us. We are opportunistic. Dalton is one example of potential opportunities. We've identified several avenues that would allow us to deepen our commitments to the community and expand our fleet there. We are also eyeing several new greenfield or new build opportunities or acquisitions that we believe could provide maximum optionality for us to choose to build as fast or as slow as makes sense over the next several years, through and after the next halving, as we prepare to corner more and more of the Bitcoin network's North American hash rate. We also continue to explore opportunities that could monetize renewable projects that are expected to wait years in the queue before they are ever connected to the grid. The future is bright for Bitcoin and for Cleanspark, and we are exceptionally well positioned to make the most of the opportunities we see on the horizon. Now, none of this is possible without the dedication of my management team and our teams in Georgia and Nevada that believe in this work. We talk a lot internally about grit and what it takes to be the best. I can say without hesitation that our teams have grit. They are the best operators in the entire industry. I'm so proud to work with them. I'm going to turn it over to Gary now.
Thank you, Zach.
Gary.
As Zach mentioned, we have a proven track record as the last 2.5 years of execution speaks for itself. I am very humbled to be part of this management team and proud of the efforts of our operations team who have made us a top-tier miner. Let's dive into the numbers for the third quarter now. For the third quarter 2023, we recognized $45.5 million of revenue, which was an increase of approximately $14.5 million, or a 47% increase. This increase was due to our growth in hash rate and thus greater Bitcoin mined during the most recent quarter. When compared to the preceding second quarter, our revenues increased approximately $3 million, or 7%. While our hash rate remained relatively steady in the most recent quarter, the revenues increased due to Bitcoin price remaining elevated. This increase in revenues led to increases in gross profit for both the prior year and preceding quarter comparisons. I want to point your attention to the preceding quarter comparison, where our gross profit increased $4.4 million to $24.8 million. We also saw our gross margins increase 7%, from 48% to 55%. The increase in gross profit between the quarters is greater than the increase in revenues due to declines in our third quarter power costs. I want to call that out now, as I will discuss this in greater detail here in a few slides. Looking at our GAAP net loss, we decreased our net loss in both comparable periods to $14.2 million. The largest contributor to our net loss is our depreciation amortization, which is a little less than $22 million for the third quarter. As you are aware, our business model requires significant capital investment, and our efforts in acquiring the newest and most efficient ASIC miners on the market, combined with our M&A efforts, have led to increases in our depreciation expense. However, we remain focused on finding the best deals on infrastructure and machines, often timing or even setting the market lows. Our ability to hunt for good deals helps keep future depreciation expense as low as possible, though we do expect this number to grow with future purchases. Let's take a moment to discuss our adjusted EBITDA, which is a metric management uses to evaluate the profitability of its operations. For the third quarter, our adjusted EBITDA was $13.3 million, which is an increase of $8.2 million or 160% over the same quarter last year. When compared to the immediate preceding second quarter, our adjusted EBITDA increased over $500,000 or approximately 5%. We did see a slight dip in our adjusted EBITDA margins between the two quarters from 30 to 29%, which reflected several new items in the third quarter. Foremost, the second quarter's number included a realized gain on sale of Bitcoin of approximately $1.4 million, whereas the third quarter had a slight loss of $143,000. I want to point out that we started the third quarter with Bitcoin priced at approximately $28,000, and Bitcoin stayed in the trading range of $28,000 to approximately $31,000 for most of the third quarter. This was a stark contrast to the second quarter, where Bitcoin price started the quarter at under $17,000. The Bitcoin sold earlier in the year had a lower carrying value on the balance sheet than our third quarter production, and this resulted in a larger variance between the periods in the realized gain loss. Additionally, we saw greater Bitcoin impairment expense of approximately $500,000. I'd like to take a moment to discuss our power costs in greater detail. You may notice that starting last quarter, we included a table of our power costs and break-even analysis in the MD&A portion of our 10-Q.
That's pretty crazy.
Here, I want to highlight our power costs and the breakdown of what is included in those power costs. We have noted that the industry does not have a standard when discussing or disclosing power costs, which should include all costs incurred on the monthly utility bill in addition to the actual cost of electricity. Cleanspark has consistently provided its all-in power costs, which includes not just the wholesale cost of electricity, but transmission and distribution charges, profit margins to the cities we operate in, taxes, and other miscellaneous fees. For the third quarter, our all-in cost of power for proprietary mining sites was 4.1 cents per kilowatt hour. As you will see in the chart here, our true wholesale electrical cost was 2.4 cents per kilowatt hour. There are approximately 1.7 cents per kilowatt hour of other fees, which comprise over 40% of our all-in number. These fees include charges which vary based on power purchase agreements we have negotiated with the 3 utilities we operate within the state of Georgia. Additionally, you will see our power cost decreased half a penny from 4.6 cents a kilowatt hour approximately, which is approximately 11% from the second quarter. This is directly attributable to our active power management strategy and, frankly, shows the value in monitoring and managing market rate power. The second quarter saw lower temperatures, especially in January, which resulted in higher costs per kilowatt hour. However, the weather was relatively moderate in the third quarter, with spring bringing lower power rates. Again, you can find our all-in cost per kilowatt hour broken down between our proprietary sites and co-locations in our MD&A section of the most recent filed 10-Q. Before I close out, I want to discuss our liquidity position. As of June 30th, we had approximately $22 million of cash on hand and a total of 529 Bitcoin valued at approximately $14 million. Our total assets were over $650 million, and we had less than $18 million of debt, which represents a relatively clean and flexible balance sheet. As Zach stated early in the call, we currently have enough capital on hand to fully fund the capital investments to get to our 16 exahash goal. That includes machines, building materials, and other infrastructure. And as of today, we have over $90 million and almost 1,200 Bitcoins, which represents approximately $125 million of liquidity and more than enough to reach our targets. Now that we have certainty, we look forward to continuing to execute on our strategy over the next couple of months. With respect to the recent increases in our Bitcoin balance, I want to state that from my perspective, I really like the flexibility of our balance sheet and operational performance. We now have all the pieces in place, from people to capital, to extend our strong track record of growth and operational excellence. With that, I will turn the call back over to Isaac.
Thanks, Gary. Abby, this concludes our prepared remarks. We would now like to open the line for questions.
We just hit 100 likes and 230 concurrent viewers. You guys are insane. Thank you guys so much. Maybe we can hit 300 viewers by the end of this. But yeah, if you're new here, subscribe. That's not an option. You have to subscribe.
And if you're using a speakerphone, we do ask that you please pick up your handset prior to pressing the numbers to ensure the best sound.
Somebody said the 10Q just came out. I'll do my best to read through that briefly after the earnings call. I'm not going to read through it all because that'd take years probably.
With H.C. Wainwright, your line is open.
Hi, good afternoon, guys, and thank you for taking my questions. First one for me, great to see the power costs come down in the quarter. If you could just speak to what you've seen in the market since the quarter and the trajectory going forward, especially in light of some of the recent heat waves we've seen across the U.S. And now that Vogtle 3 is online in the state.
Hey, Mike, thanks. This is Zach. I'll field that one first. Power prices have continued to remain very advantageous. This is a great thing about Georgia, is we're not in Texas and we're not contending with the power prices in the way that they are. Also, we're not seeing the heat in the same way. Yes, it's hot. Yes, we have to manage around that. But our curtailment has been incredibly limited. I don't have the exact number, but we are able to maintain, still upper 90% uptimes, even after the quarter end. So really what you should expect to see, in our next update is continued extremely high realization. July's been great. We do expect probably the last 2 weeks of August are usually the hottest of the year in Georgia. What we're seeing on the power prices, though, is, they've been able to maintain very flat. So will we see a slight increase in August? Yes, I think so. But we are seeing the wholesale power rates to continue to maintain in the 2-cent range, just like we did last quarter where we had, 2.4 on average. So all in all, we're feeling really good. We're able to keep our machines online more than I think most of our peers. And Georgia is, again, proving to be one of the best bets. To your last question, let me address Vogtle 3. Really, its impact is probably a little too early to tell, but it's part of the reason that we made the bet. If you understand that power costs are really just supply and demand, what Vogtle 3 is providing is additional supply, base load, 24/7, 365, and that should lead to increased abundance, which, again, on a supply and demand curve, should lead to lower cost. Simple economics.
Great. Thanks for taking my question, Zach.
Hey, thank you.
And we will take our next question from Josh Siegler with Cantor Fitzgerald. Your line is open.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my question today. And congrats on getting the 16 exahash fully funded. I think that's quite an achievement. So congratulations on that. It actually ties into my first question, which is, with the 16 exahash fully funded now, what do you view as the major risks to actually achieving that 16 year-end target? How do you plan on best managing for things such as transportation of rigs and actually installing the rigs to make sure you can still hit the 16 exahash by year-end? Thanks.
Hey, Josh, thanks for joining the call. Appreciate the thoughtful question on this. What we focus on is what we can control. And we've been planning on this for many months. So let me address the rigs first, and the miners, I should say. The miners are going to arrive months in advance is our intention. So we expect, if you look at that 45,000 unit order, which will be the majority of what goes into that site, it's an August and September batch, which means they should be shipped late August, early September. And so at that point, it's just a matter of how quickly the planes can get on the ground. So I really would expect that we should have all 45,000 of those machines stateside, realistically by the end of October. On an outside case, it should be, the first week or two in November. Now, from there, it comes to infrastructure. So our infrastructure is well on track to be ready ahead of time. With the minute that we have shelves available, optimally, we're storing miners for a very short period of time, and then we're putting them right onto shelves and ready to go. So everything we control between the rigs and the infrastructure, all the long lead time items have already been ordered, under contract. We have all the contractors secured. So all of that's taken care of. The risk to us are the things we don't control. That can, of course, be utility timing or anything that relates to their side. As of right now, we feel good about the trajectory that things are going. Now, of course, we can help in some ways, along the process, and we're going to continue to do so to make sure that we get there as quickly as possible. But, when the power's there, it still does take time to turn the machines on. If you've paid attention to what happened with our recent 50 megawatt expansion, it took us about 10 days to get, 12 days to get all those machines turned on hashing. And that just comes down to the fact that we're working with a whole lot of power. It's not like flipping a light switch when it comes to 50 or 150 megawatts of power. So for us to kind of sum that up, we're going to try and have everything we can control ready early, and that way we have plenty of buffer room on our side of the equation.
I got it, Zach. That was very helpful color. Thank you. And then, I was curious if we could take a look forward, right? Once the 16 exahash target is achieved, it should set the company up to establish a larger HODL balance over time. If we're thinking about growth beyond the 16 exahash, would you view this larger HODL balance as a potential funding source for growth?
Yeah, absolutely. We view it also as an ROI source because, it's an asset on the balance sheet that has the ability to grow in value. And, going back to the market events that we're seeing, ETFs, for example, halving is another one. Bitcoin is built with scarcity in mind that should push the value up on a long-term basis. We also believe that the other market effects, such as ETFs, but also the continued adoption rates of Bitcoin, everything is trending in the right direction to show that will increase in value. Now, as that goes up in value, we can, of course, use that to fund growth from operations like we have for the last 18 months. We've always seen it as one of the levers to pull to grow. And so, again, from a market conditions point of view, we got it right when we started selling our Bitcoin, even though it was unpopular, almost, what's that, 18 months, almost 2 years ago when Bitcoin hit, 69,000. Although unpopular, we chose to sell it because the market indicated it was time to sell. We believe the market is indicating it's time to hold on to more than other times, and we'll measure it day by day, week by week. But absolutely, we still see it as a way to fund growth. And, again, on a long-term basis, we also hope that debt markets come back into play, which they're really not good opportunities there. But, the more non-dilutive capital, whether it's operating or debt, the better. And on a long-term basis, we think that having a really strong balance sheet sets us up to do that. And we'll look to those levers in a higher degree for future growth.
I actually think, long term, they could use their HODL
Great.
to get
Thanks, Zach.
yield. They
Very
could
helpful
return
again.
yield
I'll
on their
hop back in the queue. Thanks.
Thank you, Josh.
Kind of surprised you didn't mention that.
We will take our next question from Tyler DiMatteo from BTIG. Your line is open.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate the time here. So, Zach, I was wondering if you could provide a little more color on Dalton specifically, and really, what would that expansion look like? Realizing that Georgia is the real stronghold footprint of the company, but any color on timing there? How you would think about going about it, realizing that with Vogtle 3 online, obviously nuclear in Georgia is becoming, even more important. Just any other color on that site specifically?
At this time, I'm not able to provide a lot of additional information. We don't want to give away all the secrets of everything we're working on right now. So there's just opportunity. There's opportunity all over Georgia from an abundance of power point of view. To reiterate, Georgia, again, is continuing to prove out, just like we made the bet 2.5 years ago it would, that power prices would be low and continue to stay low. And so, that is one of many opportunities for expansion. When we have more information in hand, we will look forward to sharing it with everybody.
Okay, great. And then my follow-up here, I wanted to circle back on the fleet efficiency, at the 29 joules per terahash.
His phone is literally in his mouth.
Think about, moving beyond or beyond the 25 potentially, and really the rig replacement cycle and just growth in general. I'm just curious how you're thinking about efficiency and anything you can do to kind of improve that. And I know, obviously immersion is a big topic in the market today, but just any other color there on kind of how you're thinking about efficiency and what that could shake up to be.
Yeah, so, that's obviously going to be an optimization strategy that is going to be required by all miners in the future. What we're actively in the process for, and if anybody has added up the exahash of total miners that we have, they're going to see it's over 16. And we're actively in the process of doing some upgrades that will lead to, I'm going to call it a midterm fleet efficiency improvement between now and the end of the year. And we think that that's going to get us halfway to 25. And then, once we get everything installed and online, really we don't expect at halving that there will be anything in our fleet that will have an efficiency over, 30.5 watts per terahash. All the machines will have been upgraded and, shifted from there. Now, what does that mean for the machines that we pull out of cycle? There's obviously a couple things to do with them. We can keep them and, look to deploy them in maybe more remote situations where, power is extremely cheap, but, maybe where there's uncertainty of timing. This can be anything from flare gas to, small sites in Africa. Or we can just sell them and turn them into capital and keep buying and building more efficient facilities. So we see that as a point of optionality. So we are going to have a stack of lower efficient miners. But what the bull market has always proven, when you look back and how many S19s were suddenly flying off shelves for prices for what you can actually nearly buy an S17 or an S19 for today, that's another opportunity is you stack the less efficient machines in a warehouse, and the next bull run they're worth their weight in gold again. So we see that as a point of optionality, but we don't expect to have anything plugged in at halving that would have an efficiency under 30 or above 30.5 watts per terahash.
Okay, great. Really appreciate the color there, Zach, and thanks for taking the time.
No, thank you.
We will take our next question from Brian Dobson with Chardan. Your line is open.
Hey, thanks very much for taking my question. Interesting thoughts that you shared on the potential approval of a spot ETF. I suppose, what are your thoughts on a timeline for that approval? And do you have any estimate for how much capital we could see directed, toward Bitcoin if one of those is approved?
Anything I would say is going to be maybe a guess, but I expect it'll be, a matter of months, not years. If Mike Novogratz yesterday got pretty public during their earnings call and some follow-on comments that, his belief from insiders at BlackRock was that it would be, 4 to 6 months out. He probably has better information than I do on this, so that's probably a good indication. But we have had conversations with market participants over the past few months, and I do see it as something that is, likely, it's something that to happen in the very near term. So really looking forward to that. From a capital point of view, I think it's going to just come down to percentages. There's a lot of money being managed out there. And once ETFs from these big firms come into play, there's nothing to stop somebody from putting 1% or 0.5% or even 0.1% into these ETFs. And when you think about the trillions under management, that could potentially be a very large dollar amount that flows into Bitcoin. But what that is and how much fund would, or family office would consider to allocate into any of these ETFs is just a guess. I do think that, the regulatory certainty is a really big part of this, which again, we mentioned we think is coming. So even if when the ETFs come into play, there's not, all the potential capital that comes in, maybe we need another 12 months after that of additional regulatory certainty. And when that happens, we could see a second wave, I think. So I think this is a two-step process potentially, unless, from a commodities point of view, that certainty speeds up just a little bit more.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the question, Brian.
We will take a follow-up question from Josh Siegler with Cantor Fitzgerald. Your line is open.
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks for taking my follow-up. I just wanted to touch on immersion cooling. Now that you've been hashing in immersion for quite some time, I'm curious if you can comment on the efficiency gains you're seeing from immersion, and any color you have on its operations as well would be helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we really like the results we're seeing from immersion. And, I also think in future generation of miners, as the chips get more efficient and the nanometers get smaller, it therefore produces more heat potentially. Immersion is going to become more and more important. And so as part of that, I really do think that in 24 and later, we'll look to build more immersion-cooled facilities. We specifically said that when we built Norcross that, we knew it wasn't going to be the biggest site that we owned. It's actually amongst our smallest currently, but it allowed us to learn everything we needed to learn. Currently, it is running perfectly flat all the time, 24/7. Repair and downtime is substantially better than air-cooled. And so, again, we're extremely happy from the results we've seen. We've also learned a couple things that we would change in the future. So I do think in 2024 and later, we'll be ready to move into more large-scale immersion facilities. Now, when it comes to performance, we do gain some flexibility in immersion. And so, there's a lot of headlines and a lot of talk about the ability to overclock, 100%. And that's not something we're interested in doing because the efficiency goes out the window. But instead, what we're seeing is we can hash at, 8 to 15% better and maintain or improve the faceplate or nameplate efficiency of many of these machines. So it allows us to make gains on efficiency while maintaining those miners, very healthy temperatures, very long life, happy environment for them to be in. So we're happy with smaller gains, higher efficiency, which again drives more to the bottom line. So that's where we're going to focus on our immersion in the future. We're not going to try and do these massive overclocks because efficiency does go out the window. And that's I guess the point of risk, I would say, for to when investors do hear about that, is you just need to know that comes at a cost. So again, you can overclock when Bitcoin goes to 69,000. It sounds great, but when Bitcoin comes down to current levels or even lower, like we saw in the winter, underclocking is actually more valuable. So flexibility is the real value in immersion cooling.
Great. Thanks, Zach, and thanks for taking my follow-up.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, with that, we will conclude today's conference. We thank you for your participation, and you may now disconnect your line.
We didn't really hear anything new that we didn't know based on the press release and all the information the company's given us. Like when the CEO, Zach Bradford, came on my channel for an interview, he told me a lot of that stuff they just mentioned. The only bad part of that interview was when that frickin' analyst had his phone stuffed in his mouth. That kind of hurt my ears a little bit. Anyways, so it could be a really, really fun time to be a Cleanspark shareholder, even a Bitcoin mining stock shareholder in general. You guys know at this point that Cleanspark is my personal favorite. But the fact that Cleanspark technically does not have to dilute until sometime mid-next year or later, and the fact that the price of Bitcoin could go up significantly over that time period means that this could be some of the most lucrative returns that we'll ever see owning Cleanspark stock and other Bitcoin mining companies. I want to say we had a lot of people show up here. We had like 250 people watching at one point. We have 134 likes. I really, really appreciate it. I could not do what I do without you guys here supporting my channel. If you guys are new or returning, not yet subscribed, make sure you subscribe down below. I'm going to cut this video down. I'll cut my pre-analysis out of it, and I'll cut this post part out of it. So it'll just be the conference call so that you guys can come back and watch it, rewatch it, watch parts you missed, or even for people that weren't here during the stream, they can come back and watch it. I'm going to have a video out tonight. Make sure you guys watch my video from yesterday. Tomorrow we have a very important CPI report, and I think it could be kind of hazardous for the stock market. Go watch that video right now or put it in your watch later list. I just highly encourage you to go watch that. Yeah, I really don't have a whole lot to say. Obviously, the fact that the company's raised so much money, their balance sheet is as healthy as ever. There's like $600 million worth of stockholders' equity right now. That should tell you a lot. Okay, and that's actually a good question. What's the market cap of the company? I know the market cap's above 600 million, at least last I checked. Maybe not anymore after this recent sell-off. No, it's not. So we have $600 million of stockholders' equity, and the market cap of the company right now is $569 million. So stockholders have more equity than the current value of the company. I mean, that just it doesn't add up. And for Cleanspark, it hasn't added up in a very, very long time. Okay, that's actually true. This market cap number is probably low because it's probably not updated for the increase in the outstanding share count. Very true. So maybe stockholders' equity is still slightly less than the market cap. But my point remains. Somebody said Disney stock was popping after hours. Wow. Okay, 3.9%. That's actually a pretty big move for Disney. Disney Plus subscribers decline as company streaming loss narrows. That's good to see that their loss is narrowing. Yeah, anyways, okay. Let me see if I can pull up the Cleanspark 10Q quick. Just look at their balance sheet and whatnot. Read through their income statement as well. Here we go. 70 pages. No way I'm reading 70 pages to you guys. You guys would fall asleep faster than, I don't know what. I don't know. Something that's fast. Okay, let's scroll down. Give me to the financial statements here. Okay. Current assets, and this is as of June 30th. We know this is pretty outdated because we know that their total current assets are over 100 million as of like October 9th, I think it was. I don't know what accounts receivable is, but $100,000 of accounts receivable, it's kind of a weird line item for a Bitcoin mining company because they don't really perform services for anybody. I don't know what that is. Maybe they could clarify it down below. I'm not going to worry about it for now, though. Prepaid expense of 8.3 million. Total Bitcoin balance of 13 million as of June 30th. Again, much higher than that now as of August. Still almost $5 million worth of current assets held for sale. That's still like from back when they were an energy company alone before they got into Bitcoin mining solely. Okay, almost $100 million of deposits on mining equipment. Again, that's an asset because that's cash that they've already paid, already set aside for the miners. Current liabilities, not much to look at here. Current portion of long-term loans payable, $7 million. Sure. Long-term debt, $10 million. Sure. If I were the company, I have over $100 million in cash right now. I'm probably paying off that debt. Just get it off my freaking balance sheet. Get that 17 mil off my balance sheet. That's what I would do if I was the CFO, but obviously they're getting paid the big bucks, and I am not. Okay. Bitcoin mining revenue of over $45 million. Other services revenue, this is a line item that only Cleanspark has. I think they're the only Bitcoin miner that has that. It's just because they do have a very, very small data center business at their, where's that at? In Atlanta, their College Park facility. They still have a data center business. I believe that's what that other services revenue is. Cost of revenues of only $21 million, which is good to see. Total cost $61 million. We'd like to see that number come down. Obviously, over time, depreciation and amortization is going to hurt. That's why I prefer to look at the adjusted EBITDA number when we try and analyze the profitability of these companies. Let's see. Interest. Okay, they had interest income of $52,000, interest expense of $689,000. Again, that's debt that they're paying. You know, if I'm the CFO, I'm paying off that debt. I mean, that's what almost $700,000 in a quarter that I'm paying in interest. Like, so $2.8 million a year going to interest. Heck no, I'm getting that off my balance sheet, so I don't have to pay that anymore. Okay, where people always like to look at stock-based comp. Maybe I scrolled past it, but I didn't see it. Maybe it's under general administrative. Doesn't really matter. It's not something I'm concerned about. Oh, let's look at shares outstanding, which should be here? No. Where am I looking? Yeah, okay. 131 million shares, almost 132 million shares outstanding. Honestly, not as many as I thought we might have. Okay. Actually, though, we know that this is before they doubled their HODL balance, so it's actually going to be higher than that. I wonder if I do a Command F and look into this 10Q, if they have a more up-to-date number on shares outstanding. Yep, here we go. See what we can do with 10Qs. As of August 9th, which I think is today. Yeah, as of today, there's 152 million, almost 153 shares outstanding. So that's more in line with what I expected. See, the 130 million didn't seem right to me, so I'm glad I looked into that a little bit more. But moving forward again, we're probably not going to see dilution until the latter part of 2024. At least that's what I'm thinking right now. That could always change, but the fact they've already paid out for their entire build out to the 16 exahash per second, dilution should be limited. And I'm curious, because there was that much dilution in like a 30-day span, I wonder if we could actually see the effect of that on the stock price. Okay, we got to okay, June 30th was quarter end, so we got to go to the beginning of July, which is here. Now, we're still 17% above what we were at the end of June. But you can see since July 13th, we've been in a solid downtrend. I'm guessing a lot of that dilution may have come during this time span. XYZ says, can't be profitable. Impairment and depreciation of assets is huge every quarter. You're correct. I mean, there's depreciation and heavy depreciation in this business. But depreciation is entirely a non-cash item. Sure, buying new miners costs cash, but depreciation does not. So as I look at Bitcoin mining stocks, I'm taking all of that non-cash stuff and I'm throwing it out the window. I don't care. I just care what the cash flows of the company are looking like. Okay. I'm not concerned about profitability with Cleanspark due to accounting rules. I agree, EBITDA is way more important. Yeah. See, Corey agrees with me with that. And, you know, I say that. That's the way I look at things. That's the way I look at Bitcoin mining stocks. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with me. You can look at it in an entirely different way. And if you believe that depreciation and amortization and impairment charges matter to your valuation of the company, then figure that into your valuation. That's just not something I'm currently pricing in, and most people aren't either. So, but it's entirely up to you. You're in charge of your own portfolio. Let's see. So adjusted EBITDA, I don't have the press release up anymore, but I could pull it up. The adjusted EBITDA of the company was, I think, like 13 oh shoot, I don't want the 10Q. Let's go back to press release. I think the adjusted EBITDA was positive $13 million, which means the company is cash flow positive right now. Okay. Where are we at? Third quarter results. Yeah, adjusted EBITDA of $13.3 million. You can see it at the top of the press release. Okay, let's see. Any other? I know there's a lot of questions here. I'm going to miss a lot of them, and I apologize. Mara is a money pit amongst highest cost per coin to mine, overvalued in name recognition. I agree, but I will say, you know, if you've been watching my channel, I've given Marathon Digital a lot of flack. I mean, a lot of crap over the last couple of years because they weren't executing. They weren't efficient. But over the last 6 months, it seems like they finally got their vehicle kicked into gear. So I'm not going to take anything I said back. You know, when I made those videos on Marathon Digital, a lot of that stuff that I said ended up being true about the company. People aren't going to come back and say sorry that they were wrong and I was right. I don't expect them to, and I don't want them to. But I will say, over the last 6 months or so, Marathon Digital, it seems like they got their poop in a group. Hopefully that continues because it's a good thing for the industry when everybody succeeds. People took those videos I made on Marathon Digital as me, hoping ill will upon Marathon Digital and their investors. Absolutely not. I want these companies to succeed. If Marathon Digital succeeds, you know what? Cleanspark's going to succeed, and that's the company I own. So I want Marathon Digital to succeed. So those videos I made on Marathon Digital simply were me calling out what I saw in hopes that they would change their ways, in hopes that they would get their stuff figured out for the sake of the industry. And so far they've done so. I'm not saying I'm responsible or I should get credit for it. I'm just saying that's why I did it. I was not wishing ill will on anybody. Anyways. Alexa says, "Are you rocking a Cleanspark shirt?" I am. It's one of the old ones, though. You can see you can see the logo there. I should switch my camera back, maybe. It's one of the old shirts. I actually do have I have two of the new shirts, I think, but I did not wear it. I did not wear it today. Marathon stated 4 cents per kilowatt in Abu Dhabi, 6 cents everywhere else, but Cleanspark is running, 2.7 kilowatt hours in Georgia. I mean, sure, but okay. I live and work in GCC. I think Mara is getting robbed. I don't know anything about that. Okay. Will become profitable when Bitcoin gets 35 to 40,000 is my guess. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Even if you do want to consider the depreciation and the impairment and whatever other expenses you want to consider, eventually, if Bitcoin does go higher and higher, these companies will turn out a natural net income. They will have retained earnings rather than accumulated deficits. Eventually, that's going to happen if Bitcoin succeeds. But right now, the non-cash stuff is just not in my personal valuation. I'm not taking it into consideration. Okay. I'm going to be coming out with a brand new Cleanspark video and update for my valuation and price target. We're going to have to make some changes. I'm guessing my price target will probably go up as a result of all of this. I don't know for sure, but stay tuned for that. I'm guessing I'll release that on Friday. Again, go watch my video that I made. Important CPI data tomorrow, data release tomorrow. Go watch my video I posted yesterday. I'll post a brand new video on Flux Power tonight, so stay tuned for that. Thank you all for coming out. We had, my face is glitching, I apologize. We had over 250 people watching at one point. That's insane. We had 145 likes, several new subscribers. If you guys are new here or returning, not yet subscribed, please subscribe down below. With that, have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed. Keep 10 toes to the ground and your chin up. Peace out.